Okay. We are back. It's almost on a daily basis now. Isn't that great? That's quite something. Yeah. We're going to talk about TikTok, which sounds like what a child would say to describe a watch. But yeah, TikTok is going to shut down in the USA because of I think, a court ruling done under the Biden administration. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to look at the reasons why. Um, so let's see here. I'll just give people a chance to join the chat. Um, and let's see here. Yeah, Angela, good to see you. KP, then we have two moderators here, which is wonderful. You know what? The funny part about this is of course, that we, we YouTubers, we want TikTok to shut down because because of selfish reasons. We will then probably get more traffic to YouTube, to our channels here. So more money. There isn't that much money in YouTube, much less than people seem to think. But anyway, yeah. So okay. I will say, in just to be transparent about this, I have never been on TikTok. I'm sure that there are people who have stolen my content and put it on TikTok, but at the end of the day, you have to give up because people will steal because they're fucking bastards. So yeah, TikTok is TikTok. It's a Chinese app, and it was decided that it must shut down in the USA because apparently it's spying on people. Now, in China, you don't get to do anything major when it comes to business and commerce without the involvement of the Communist Party. So, probably, yes, TikTok is probably being used by the Communist Party in China to spy on people. Uh, that being said, they're not the only ones doing that through apps, and I think TikTok only works on, I don't know, only works on smartphones. I don't have a smartphone, but I have no interest in TikTok because it seems stupid. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, people are going to come over to YouTube Shorts, and of course, Google has had a say in this process, and they have been preparing for this. And that's why they've been pushing the shorts. I don't make shorts. I did make some, but YouTube decided that, well, we will not pay you. Well, they do pay a little bit, but it's almost nothing. And I don't like the format, so why would I make shorts? And also, it seems to destroy reduce the traffic to the real videos. So yeah. Now, the interesting question here is, of course, why do Trump want to save TikTok? Because that's apparently what they're saying now. Why would Trump want to save a Chinese company? And why doesn't he care about the spying that is going on through that app? Well, I mean, it's not so great, is it? It's not making America great again, is it? No, but there are other I believe that your upcoming administration cares more about the money than making America great again. You will see. People over there will wake up and see. So now I looked into this. I actually do look into the topics I'm going to talk about before I talk about them. So first of all, did I write in the title? It's going to close down tomorrow, and I'm 1 day ahead of Americans now because of the time difference here on the globe. When I say that, it's like someone rings a bell and all the flat earthers wake up and someone said globe. I'll go and troll on this live stream now, which is funny. Yeah. So okay. So if they close down, it will be tomorrow, because I believe either tomorrow or the 20th, because it has to close on the 20th. The 19th is by no, hold on. What I'm trying to say is that they get a fine, the company behind TikTok, a very hefty fine for each new download that happens in the USA after that time on the 20th. So they will probably shut it down or close the ability to download the app on the 19th, which is tomorrow Norwegian time. Yeah, so very soon, in other words, very soon. And that will take a lot of income away from TikTok. So it will be a major blow to that company. And the funny thing is that that company has another similar app, and people are going to that app now, which is very TikTok-like, I'm being told. And now I can't remember the name. Red Note. Yeah, Red Note. Which is also a Chinese Communist Party thing. Now, the Trump administration used TikTok heavily moving into, through their campaign. And Trump wants to save TikTok. But Trump says a lot of strange things. And that kind of, that's the interesting part, right? Because why, we must always ask why. Because if you keep saying America first and America is great, and I actually believe America is great, but that's beside the point here. Why would they try to save TikTok? Why? And I'm sure that you guys have an idea. Yes, Angela. Follow the money. Yes, follow the money. So here's what I think is going to happen. They will say something along the lines of, it's not right that they are closing down TikTok, and we want to have good relations with Chinese companies and so on, or something along those lines. And but we also want to buy TikTok. And someone will buy TikTok, and it will be an American company or something like that. And there you have Elon Musk. Elon Musk will then buy it, and he might choose to integrate it into X or just merge the whole thing after a while. I don't know, but it's not far-fetched to think something like that. It's always with these people, follow the money. They don't do anything if there's no money in it. It's a sickness in their brains. They don't do anything if there is no money in it. That's the system. Now, I'm not like a socialist. I believe that the capitalist system is a system that works. It's not perfect. Many flaws with it, and it's not fair or anything like that, but it is a system that seems to work. Okay? And because of that, I think we need to understand that when Trump says that he wants to save TikTok, it's not because of the kindness of his heart, is it? It's because of the money. Mr. Beats, Mr. Beats. He's a farmer growing beets. I don't think he has that kind of money. Maybe he will buy it with someone else. Now, by the way, when it comes to Mr. Beats, isn't it funny that those accusations and those screenshots, and I'll be very careful here because I want to avoid lawsuits, but there were some minors there, some things going on there, some perverted stuff. It all went away suddenly. Isn't that strange? Isn't it strange how all of that works? Mahos Trados says, "Do you not like socialist Norway? Why do you think Norway is socialist? We're not socialist." So isn't that funny how it works? But okay, now I think that we need to understand that something like TikTok has been used and will be used along with many of these other social media platforms. And Google is guilty as well. Absolutely. They were caught red-handed on stage, some CEO in Google saying that they were not going to make it they were going to prevent it happening again. That was when Trump won first time. So absolutely, I believe that they all try to they tweak their algorithms so that they will form an opinion among the population. They will, what's the word? They will meddle. That's election meddling. It is. And the Chinese Communist Party absolutely has an interest in forming a certain opinion and they have a certain agenda in other countries. Okay, they want to impose. They want to have their ideas become popular in other countries. So does Russia. So does the USA, and so on. Now, if you doubt that, go to, and I'll use this as one example because there are many examples, but this is one I actually know very well about. If you go to Facebook, you will see posts, AI generated images with they will say something like we don't pay I will rather have soldiers being paid or veterans being paid by the government than paying off the loan for the students and something like that. And very right-wing conservative viewpoints. Okay, And you would think, well, why would someone else, another country, another, like Russia, for instance, why would they want to spread such a message? Isn't that a good old American um, attitude? Isn't that good values and so on? Well, if you go and look at those posts, many of them come from profiles in very different countries. Very different countries, not in the USA. So why is that? Why is that? It's because I'll give one fact and then a theory of mine. So the fact is that these foreign states, they want to have friction and conflict instead of unity in these other countries. They would rather see a divided USA than a united USA. Okay, that, and this we do know for a fact. And my theory, and this is just a theory, I don't know, but my theory is that when it comes to that, the fact that they're always pushing these 1950s traditional so-called Christian values. Why are they pushing that? Well, because the rhetoric and the idea here is that you're not seeing that in the USA. If we're talking about the USA, we're not seeing that in the USA now, but we are seeing it in Russia, for instance, seeing it in China. And that's how these countries want to portray themselves towards other countries. We have people moving to Russia now from the USA in search of those traditional values. So that's a theory of mine. So leading up to elections, we know that typically these big nations with a weak democratic system, like Russia, they meddle in the elections of other countries. And they use their algorithms to do that. And TikTok absolutely tried to meddle with the US election. That's not a good thing. Now, also, and this is the most serious part of this, but also it's spyware. It's spyware. It is. They will gather information about you. If you have TikTok on your smartphone, you're constantly sending information about yourself to the Chinese Communist Party. That's not a theory, by the way. We know this. Okay? So I would say maybe it's not a good idea to have TikTok on your smartphone, but you know, each to his or her own, I guess. But it's not the only app that works like that, and I honestly don't know so much about these apps anymore because I haven't had a smartphone in many years now. But you know, you're probably allowing a lot of information about yourself, where you are, how you move about, what you're saying, what you're writing on social media, and so on. You're probably sharing unwillingly all that information to, you know, several companies in several states. And these companies, of course, they sell that information. That's how they're making money. They sell that information to highest bidder, you know. Um, so, yeah. So this is kind of important. And and again, you know, why would Trump want to save TikTok? I think it's the sorry, financial interest of his donors, and I've used that word many times, and I should specify it. people who have given him money and the Republicans money leading up to this election. They're not doing that for free. Now they are expecting to get paid back. And you will see the consequences of that. Gerdio, you lost me, unsubscribe. Oh, I don't know how I will be able to sleep tonight. Such a major emotional blow you gave me there. Now, yeah, Roderick, the oligarchs are protecting other oligarchs, of course. So I'm afraid that this is this is not good news, but what will happen with TikTok, I don't know. Might be that it just closes down and that company stops putting much money and effort into that app, and they I don't know. It might be bought by Elon Musk or someone else like that. I'm sure that Elon Musk has already, or his people, they have already looked into if it's more profitable to expand X to become also like TikTok, or maybe it's more profitable to integrate TikTok into that. Or there might be others that are interested in that platform. So yeah, we'll see what happens. As I said, on a personal note, selfish note, you could say, um, it's a good thing when TikTok closes down, because I guess people will come back to YouTube, you know. But it's a short format, and I don't do that. So we'll see. And of course, YouTube already has prepared for this with this model where they don't pay YouTubers hardly any money for making shorts or that short format. That's why most big YouTubers, I believe, they're not putting that much effort into making shorts, or they're not making them at all. So, yeah, Patricia, same here. I've also never been on TikTok, but I have seen TikTok videos that have been uploaded to YouTube. And there's often a TikTok logo on the screen, something like that. So yeah, I know kind of what they look like, but I don't know the app. So let's see here. I think it's also interesting why the Biden administration decided to close down TikTok in the USA. Maybe they thought that it was giving the Republicans, who have been much better at using social media, I believe, that it was giving them an advance. But then again, why would they wait until Biden's last day, or his second last day, the day before he puts his slippers on, to have it closed down? I don't know. So yes, Art Patron Forever says Trump was first to advocate banning TikTok. That's what I've heard too, but then he used TikTok moving towards the election and in his campaign. Um, so it's difficult to have principles for some people. So Rick says 170 million TikTok users in the US. Wow. Uh, it seems. How many people are there in the USA? It seems that a big part of Trump's win was because of TikTok promotions. Yeah, in Norway, we are seeing politicians using TikTok a lot. And there's this obnoxious guy. I don't remember his name now. I blocked it out. He's in the Progress Party. And he has a background as a drug dealer and so on. I think he's a right bastard. But he's been using TikTok a lot. Yeah. Eric Beagle says, this all sounds like a bunch of nonsense to me. Clean the environment, clean all the dumping and pollution that's gone into the ocean. Forget the politics for that minute. Yeah, I agree. But let's keep talking a little bit. Let's see here. I'll just scroll down. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yes. Linda says, I know the reason TikTok parent company is run by Chinese government. Yes, it is. And Butter Stuff says, YouTube, X, and TikTok basically made Trump president. Yeah, and these podcasts too, very important in that respect. There is a term, the culture war. And I believe that Trump won because he won the culture war. And we're seeing the effects of the culture war in Europe as well now. Europe is becoming very, if we use that old stupid term, right wing. Europe is becoming very right wing. And these older, they're not socialist parties, but they're, these older labor parties. They're clinging on to power, but it won't last long. We are seeing that now, and more countries are moving to the right. And I think it's a reaction, and I think it's because of the culture war. People don't vote rationally, they vote emotionally. And the culture war is all about emotion. Yeah, interesting also, Alex99. Yes, you're right. The EU stopped the election in Romania. They're saying Russia and China influenced Romanians through TikTok because they all voted for far-right nationalists and isolationists. Yes, maybe they did. Probably did. But the interesting part there, the most interesting part, is that basically when you can, they can now basically just stop any election or make any election result, what's the word, void, cancel. They can cancel any election result now. They can just claim that, oh, Russia was meddling through social media. So if there's an election result that they don't like, the bureaucrats in the EU, and they are not democratically voted in, by the way, they themselves. But if there is a result they don't like, they can just say, oh, that's Russia doing that through TikTok and YouTube and whatever. That's not so democratic, is it? um Yeah, Patricia, I agree. The Romania thing is very bad. You cannot throw it out the win if you don't like it. Yeah, I agree. Do I like the result in Romania? Um, no. Um, and do I think it's wise for Romania to get closer to Russia? No. Um, but that's the part about democracy. You have to respect the result. Christopher says, I'm free spirited like Bjorn. Everyone goes right, I go left. Yeah, let's just go our own way, you know. So, I saw a comment up here. Yeah, Eric, I will read comments that are, about the topic we are talking about. If I see the comment. Sander van der Ven says we are probably too stupid to understand. If you're talking about my analysis of what's really going on when it comes to TikTok, maybe you're right. Maybe there are things here that we don't know about. Maybe there are things being kept secret. Maybe we just can't see what's really going on. So, yeah, I can't predict what's going to happen with TikTok, or if it's going to also be closed down in other countries, or if there is enough money in keeping it up in other countries, if the USA is gone. I think absolutely there is enough money, but it would be a heavy blow, and that might be enough for the company to just restructure things or to sell it or something like that. Powerful Prep says, who the heck even use that app? That's for little kids. Yeah, but yes, but a lot of people uses that app. I mean, I can sit here all day long and say that this short form is horrible. It makes people stupid. It reduces their attention. What's the word? Help me out here. Their attention span. But nobody cares. Nobody cares what I think. I will keep doing my thing, and I don't think I would be happy making short format videos. I know I would not be happy. I mean, I write books, so that's the complete opposite. I like making videos. My videos are typically either between 8 and 15 minutes long, and then I have the overnighter videos that not so many people watches, and they will be between 15 minutes and half an hour, something like that. Yeah, I like doing that. Okay, so I think we have talked enough about that now. but we can move on to other topics because I can't sleep and I am bored. So, so we can have a conversation if you like. Um, so, um, really, Christopher, are they freaking out in the USA? Fear of missing out because of TikTok? Really? Wow. Paul says, can we talk about Homo sapiens and Lebanese? I don't know what you mean there. Some talk here about sugar, fermented sugar. Okay. Paul says gays. I don't see the. I don't understand what you mean. Still don't understand. So, yeah, you kind of need to spell out the topic here. So I understand. Okay. I got a lot of angry comments. Oh, people are so triggered, very emotional, you know, about my videos about U.S. foreign policy and all that. But it's not that important or exciting or interesting because the reaction is so, it's exactly what you'd expect, you know. Is Paul trolling? Oh, okay. Yeah. I says no NGO, no GMO, no World Economic Forum. The world would be a better place. Daniel says, is the woke agenda slowing down in Norway with the Trump effect? Daniel, we didn't really go woke in Norway. There were some attempts, and all of a sudden we had the litter people, with the pride thing, a full month of that, and it was everywhere, and they made a lot of noise. But Norwegians are not very woke, and I think it's because they just don't care about that whole thing. So no, Norway didn't go woke. I think Norwegians have the attitude that Norwegians are very spiteful. You know what I mean? And I am too. So it's like if Trump says something that we don't like, that kind of comes across as disrespectful, we will kind of do the opposite, just because that's our mentality. So if anything, I think that Trump would, if anything, Trump would make Norway more woke. But then again, also, we don't really have the potential here to go woke, I think. It never caught on here. And you need to remember that people here, when we look at the USA, it's like that's where the woke people are. You know, it's not like that's where it is, that they are crazy over there. That's the attitude here, you know. Is that correct? I don't know, but that is the attitude. And it's funny because people think Scandinavia is woke, which is funny because it's not. It really is not. So, um, Let's see here. Okay, I'll scroll up. Yeah, Norway is very liberal. Scandinavia is liberal, but it's not liberal in the sense that it's leftist. Liberal here means something else. Liberal here is politically liberal is on the right here. So let's just scroll down. Daniel, I did a live stream, I think, yesterday about Denmark. I talked about that before. The Greenland, I talked about that before. Matthew, how are you going to save Norway from Islam? Norway is not Sweden. We haven't had that much immigration to Norway. Immigration to Norway has been very limited. It's been a closed borders policy, actually. But we have had refugees coming here, but not many. I mean, I don't know the exact number, but it's almost nothing compared to like Sweden. When that being said, there is the story, of course, about the Ukrainian refugees. So I've kind of talked about this before. Suddenly, Norway opened its borders to the Ukrainian refugees, women and children coming here. And why is that? And politicians here would say, because we are so kind. Well, yeah, we're kind, but also the real reason is that we have a problem in Norway with people moving away from the rural areas into the cities. And they need people to live in the rural areas because there are not enough people there to work in healthcare, schools, kindergarten, and so on and so on. And now we would say, oh, you come from Ukraine. That's nice because we know that you will integrate here in a matter of no time at all. Here's your house. You can live here. Here's if you want to work as a teacher, we know that you will learn Norwegian in a couple of months. So there you go. And that's basically what they did. And then now they don't have any more room or houses for Ukrainian refugees. So now they're suddenly saying, "Oh, Ukraine is kind of safe now." And I'm talking about that being the Norwegian government, and they are saying Ukraine is quite safe. So why do you come here? We are putting limits on the immigration from Ukraine now. I mean, um, so um, so there is that's how it is. Okay. Matthew says, any tips on getting Norwegian women? I wouldn't know. I think a good start would be to travel to Norway. Otherwise, it's a little bit difficult, maybe. And why are they moving from rural areas? Because they are destroying companies who want to be there. Well, they are moving from rural areas because first of all, you go to study and you study in a university. It's very difficult to get a good job here if you haven't been to university. And that kind of breaks your bond to your home place in a way. Also, most of the companies are, of course, based in the cities. So that's why people move away from the rural areas. I would like to see more companies establishing themselves in rural areas to keep those areas alive. I would like to see that. Uval says, when will Norway turn Islamist? It's often good to, you know, to look at the facts and not just react emotionally to something you heard somewhere. Okay. Lingua says Finland superior to Norway. Not sorry. Well, I'm yeah, I really like Finland and the Finns. Wonderful people. Um, Daniel, no, Norway will never turn Islamist, just to make that very clear. Um, I mean, we had a terror attack. One of these Islamist people, because there are some here, and he killed some people during the Pride parade. He killed some people, and they were just. Did he kill one or two? Can't remember now, but they were not part of the Pride parade. They were just sitting at a bar, and he just shot them, or one of them. And he's just been sentenced, and 30 years in prison for him. So basically, he will be spending the rest of his life in prison. That guy, as he should. Daniel, can you be a digital nomad in Norway? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I says Norway still has a monarchy, isn't it? Yeah, it's a monarchy. Sadly, it's shameful. I'm very against that. You have these people. Oh my God, oh, they're a bunch of criminals. I mean, by definition, not the king and the queen, but they are very old, and I'm the same age as the son and his former drug addict wife, who will be the queen. And I remember stories about that guy, because we're the same age. And so we have this saying in Norway, "Not my king." um, Patricia, good question. What is the weather in Norway now? A lot of snow this year so far. Well, I live in the south of Norway, so but still, we had snow and it was cold. I don't like the cold anymore because it hurts my neck a lot. Um, and and now it's warm again. So I'm kind of glad that the climate is changing. And yes, it is changing. Why? I don't know. I'm not an expert on that, but it is changing. But I'm kind of it now. It's like 6 or 7 degrees Celsius plus, and it's much better for my neck. You know, so that's good. Yeah, but it's getting warmer. Um, U.S. backcountry says Norway also had an Iranian man shooting people with a bow and arrow. I think you're referring to something else. We had a sick person, mentally sick person. He was walking around without shoes, uh, and he shot some people with a bow and arrow. And he was mentally sick. He was not Iranian. Um, let's see. We not often do we see the northern light here where I am. It has happened, but not often. Um, Let's see. Yeah, there are some rivers and streams here. I do camp near water. I like to do that, go out in my canoe and so on. And you'll see that on my outdoors channel, which is linked in the video description. I live in the southeastern part of Norway, very close to Sweden, by the way. Are you ready to ask America for asylum yet? Kevin, why would I do that? Why? Why? I like it here. So, lots of different questions here. Yes, I am writing on more novels in the Jomsviking series. Yes. Home Planet is saying, I didn't know there was warmer winters in Scandinavia. Well, here's the thing, it's um, climate change is a real thing, and we are seeing it. And and I think what is it like to, for instance, if you live on an island in the Pacific, and the highest point on your island is 1 meter above sea level or something like that, and let's say you're 50 or 60 years old and you've seen the changes, and then you see on social media people saying there is no climate change is not real. How must that feel? How violently do you shake your head when you hear things like that? um how is climate change a real thing, says Daniel. It's a real thing. I mean, it's something that we can observe. um that we are experiencing. It's the new species or new animal species moving north. Now we can discuss why there is climate change. Human activity, how large a part does that play? But the climate, yeah, Helaku says climate has always changed, of course. But there is climate change. That's a very real thing. And I think also the claim that human activity has no effect on the climate is a little bit ignorant. That is also something that we can actually observe in real time. What happens if you cut down all these trees here? Let's see what happens. Well, the climate will change, actually. So let's stick with what is actually real, and admit that there are things we don't know. And also, climate is extremely complex. So we should listen to the scientists who are not paid to say some particular thing. So we should not listen to the climate scientists who are paid by oil companies. We should not listen to the climate scientists who would lose their job if they said that, well, we think that the effect of human activity is much less than what we previously said. We should listen to independent, objective scientists who do real research on this topic. So it's kind of important. It doesn't make you look bright to just blurt out some statement about climate change. It's because of the cars, or there is no climate change. those statements are both a little bit, and I have to say this, idiotic. um, yeah, it's a very emotional topic. It's like when I say that word, the chat just speeds up like hell. Um, yeah, the CO2 thing is very interesting, isn't it? Because the more CO2 isolated in an area, if the temperature stays the same, the more the plants will grow, right? And therefore, you see statements like, well, CO2 is food for the plants. Yes. But also, it makes the temperature on the planet go up. And when that happens, you get less area where plants can grow. So it's not that simple. There are more things going into that. Um, yeah. Um, Often I find that it's good to look at a globe, you know, uh, and what you will see is that our understanding of the world is a little bit distorted because we think that places like Europe, the USA, um, yeah, the Western world is much bigger than it is. But actually, it's quite small. And it's because it's been stretched out because of what we call Mercator's projection to make, if if you take a ball and you stretch it out so that all of that area will fit on a flat surface, you have to shrink the middle and stretch out the tops, or the north and the south, so that those northern areas and the southern areas will look much bigger. For instance, Greenland looks like a giant island. It's big, but it's not that big. And the desert areas in Africa are huge, you know? Um, and it's mind-boggling. It's but I'm saying this because we need to understand that if the temperature rises a little bit, and the effect on the middle part of the globe, so to speak, will be vast, and you're losing so much habitable green area. Um, Now, and this is just me not being an expert, but this is something I believe to be true. It's just logic, isn't it? Um, okay. Yeah. Now, and the thing is, we can, if only if we just look at the things that we actually know, like for sure that we can observe, that would be protection of nature. I mean, let's all agree on that, right? It's bad to cut down the trees. Thank you, Kat. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for that donation. You're very kind. Um, yeah, so let's protect nature. Let's make sure that we don't lose all these animal species. We are experiencing a there is a term for it which I can't remember now. Um, there's a term for this thing that's happening now where we are losing so many species. Yeah, it's an extinction. It's a biodiversity eradication, and that's not a good thing. Even to those people who are who have this idea that human beings are the only thing that matters, even for those people, it's a bad thing, because, well, all these plants that some of them we haven't even discovered yet, might have medicines. There might be a frog in the deep Amazonas jungle that might have its poison might be used to cure cancer or whatever. So that's a bad thing. That shouldn't happen. It does happen when we cut down the rainforest. It does happen when we deforest lands, areas. So, yeah, even though Al Gore was sensationalist and ridiculous, doesn't mean that we're not seeing wild areas being destroyed because of the changing climate. So let's all agree that we should protect nature. It is important. My proposal is that we need to set aside areas that, like natural areas, they must not be touched. And when it comes to firewood and wood for making, houses and stuff, I read an analysis on this. When it comes to clear cutting, it's not a good way to do it, and you get more wood out of a forest if you do it the more responsible way, and you don't clear cut, but you go in and you cut trees here and there continuously. You get more over time, more wood out of that forest that way, but that would mean that you need people to do that, and you can't just destroy an area, and they don't want to put that money into it, of course. Also, they need to stop with this insane destruction of areas to erect these so-called wind farms. That's a money scheme that it's always follow the money, that will profit people a lot, the people who are behind that. There's a lot of corruption going into that also. Now, okay. Yeah, down here, not seeing very many babies lately. Yeah, that's of course a problem as well. I've talked about that on the main channel. It's probably the most urgent problem we have, and we only need to look at the numbers. I mean, we have an aging population, and I might be wrong here, but I heard on the radio yesterday that half the population in Norway is over 60 years old. And that made me think, what can that be true? And if that is true, you have a top heavy, so to speak, population. And it's typical for European countries. And Norway is not the worst when it comes to the, what's it called? Replacement rate. And it's going to destroy societies and nations, of course, because before the breakdown comes, taxes that are just astronomical. We are seeing that now. So basically, you're working most of the time for the state and to put food on the table for old people. And also, you will be expected to work until you die. Um, and we're seeing in Norway now that this woman, I don't like her, Erna Solberg, she's very pro working till you're 70. 70! And what kind of life is that? You're going to work until you can't anymore. What's left of your life then? Not much, you know? But that's what I want. You're going to be a good little serf and obey your masters, work, pay taxes. And I say, fuck all that. Not going to do that. I plan to absolutely reduce my workload very soon, actually, in a couple of years. Yeah. So, I mean, it's we are moving into something now that is a major topic for me. It's going to be a major topic moving forward on the main channel and probably here as well. Because it's going to be so urgent and so visible, and so it will touch everyone. If we just go 5 years into the future, I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's going to be even worse. It's going to be very, very visible. We will have so many more old people just in 5 years. And we will be seeing the effects of that. Now, there is nothing wrong with having a lot of old people around, of course, but we don't have enough young people because people are not having children or enough children. And why is that? Well, should we get this live stream demonetized? I talked about Israel in negative terms yesterday, so maybe it's enough to have one live stream demonetized for now, but Billy Boy's cough medicine is one reason. But we did see a decline before that, and the decline is cultural. It's economical. And I believe that if you're a responsible politician now, you have to say the following: okay, we will make it financially. The state will support you. We will make it so that we will make it financially beneficial to have children. We will make it easy for you. You won't have to struggle financially when you have children. That's the only way to do this. And if we don't get people to have more children, we are going to be gone in a few decades. Our nations will not function. And they will try, but of course they won't say that. They will try to solve this by immigration, which will I think we kind of have seen how that works out, haven't we? But they don't care. No, I mean, the only responsible thing to do now would be to say something like, we will support you financially if you have children. You will be taken care of. The family, it would need to be a kind of support that would not make a lot of women have children, like being single mothers, just so that they can make that their living. There needs to be an incentive for people to live as a family. I want to go back to, if you really want to know, well, you didn't ask, but I'll say it anyway. I want to go back to a sort of culture and a society where one income is enough for the family, so that one of the parents can be more at home with the kids. That's what I want to go back to. Um, and is that going to happen? No, no, probably not. Um, but it would be nice. Um, and why are people not having children? Uh, Many reasons. Of course, I mentioned one that code words there, but it's being expected that you go to university. And I think you should go to university if that's your interest and that's your leaning, and if you have that kind of brilliant mind, you should go to university. We need people who do that. But it's not for everyone. Um, and having children should be possible uh, to do when you're young. I mean, I know well what it's like to not. I know what it's like because this has been my situation. When I was in my 20s, most of my 20s, I felt that it wouldn't be financially responsible to become a parent. That's what I felt. And I don't know if I was right about that, but waiting, well, men can, of course, become fathers all their lives, but the same goes for women. They will be thinking the same. And then you wait, of course, till you had your education. Maybe you want to wait until you have worked a few years. You feel that you have some money saved up. Maybe, well, maybe that was before. Maybe it's not so easy to save up money anymore. Um, and then you have children, but then you're like 20, no, 33 years old or 35 years old, and then we have one child, maybe two, or none. um, and we actually need people to have more kids than that now. um, Also, of course, as someone is writing here, oh yeah, in the US, of course, and some other countries, you have to pay a lot to get a university education. It's not seen as an investment by society, by the nation, like roads and so on. Um, yes, we live also now, to add to this, we live in a world that is seen as unsafe. Wars. We have propaganda by the state. At least here in Norway, there's a lot of propaganda for the military. And the idea is that little Norway will be, we need to strengthen our military so that we can fight the Russians. That's practically what they're saying. It is ridiculous, but that's what they're saying. And you know what? I think it has a negative effect on people who are considering having children, because it's like, do I want to have children that can become cannon fodder for these psychopaths? No. So there is that. And there is, of course, the cultural thing with, and I'll say the word because this is where that word actually applies, feminism. Yeah. The kind of feminism that incentivizes, well, that makes women think that having children is not for them. It We also need to add to this the kind of, I don't know what to call it. It's the equivalent of feminism, that kind of feminism, uh, the red pill movement and all that. Oh, you can't trust women and women are all bad and all that kind of attitude. I kind of pity those guys sometimes because of all what they're missing. I mean, yeah. um, so yeah, but they will say things like, "No, you shouldn't marry. You shouldn't be in a steady relationship, and you should absolutely not have children." And that's not going to help, is it? Um, you know, yeah, the military thing is, the idea is to defend your country. That's what they're trying to sell. And that's kind of a cute idea, isn't it? And people take the bait very often. But in the real world now? What's happening? Are they defending their country? No, they're being sent to do the killing in other countries. They're fighting proxy wars for big tech, big what should we call them? The weapon manufacturers. Like in Norway, we have a big one, Kongsberg, and they're making loads of money every time the Norwegian government says, "Oh, we will be sending these weapons to Ukraine," and they are just, they're counting the money, right? And oh, we'll make a billion more now because of this political decision, and who's paying for that? Taxpayers' money. Yeah, that's the business model, isn't it nice? Um, yeah. Yes, I saw that, Lena. Your Starmer, Keir Starmer, a 100-year deal with Ukraine. 100 years. Um, that's quite a statement. Quite a statement. Yeah, the UK made a 100-year deal with Ukraine just now. Was that yesterday, or is is it like now, today, or something like that? It's very recent. Um, yeah, 100 years. So I don't know what goes into that deal, actually, like in detail, but yeah, 100 years. 100-year deal between UK and Ukraine. Fucking hell, Excuse my French. Daniel is asking, was Norway neutral in Second World War? No, no. We tried to fight the Nazis. We did. My family, and I say this often because I'm kind of proud of the fact that my family on my father's side was in the resistance, and one of them, he was killed, um, and because he had been in Sweden for training, and when he came back, he was killed. Of course, long time before I was born. Obviously, I'm not that old. So yeah, and I have a desk that my grandfather used, and there's a hidden compartment there, and he used that. I'm being told by my father that he used that to hide illegal pamphlets. So when we cry about, oh, I can't write this hateful thing here on Facebook, oh, I don't have free speech, I think we need to, as we say here in Norway, ta deg en bolle, which have yourself a bun, which means get yourself together. And yeah, because if they had caught him with that, he would have been thrown in a concentration camp, actually. So, yeah, so Sunday, yeah, the Nazis were here. And I think World War II history is very, very interesting. Also, the lies that we were told, the image of, oh, we fought them and we won. No, we didn't. You know who won the Second World War? Some of you will know. How did it turn out? Why did it turn out the way it did? Who won? Who won? Who won the Second World War? Yeah, Glenn, Russia. Yeah. And we like to think that, well, we beat the Nazis. Well, at the end we did, but that's because of Stalin. So it's not like, oh, the good guys won, Yeah. So my grandmother, it's like my grandmother, she told me that she often walked past a prison where the Nazis kept some Russian prisoners, prisoners of war, and they would make stuff out of just rubbish that they had in a fenced-in area there, and stick it through the fence in the hope that they would be given food back. Makes you think, makes you think. So okay, let's change the topic here. Yeah, I'm not trying to diminish, hope that's the right word, any of the effort made by the UK, the European countries fighting Nazi Germany, the USA, Australia. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to say that if we look at history, what really happened, so but there are other people who know a lot more about the Second World War than I do. Having said that, it was a big part of what we were taught in school, of course. Less now, I believe. And isn't it strange how, as time goes by, things in the past tend to become less important? And I think that might be a reason why strange ideas appear about things that happened in the past. And I caught a glimpse of one of those ideas here in the chat. Yeah, okay. Home Planet, and thank you for the commentary, Patricia. Also, Home Planet below you there says, so few World War II vets are left. Yeah. Um, I'm lucky enough to have. I'm old enough to have spoken with. Well, my grandmother. She remembered the war, and also a guy who was in concentration camp here in Norway, and he was being starved. They I don't know why he was there, but they what they did was basically they took intellectuals, because intellectuals, university professors and so on, they would typically be thrown in prison. These regimes, they always do that. And by the way, this contempt, by the way, for knowledge and higher not higher knowledge. What's the term? Well, when you're a university professor, you will be the victim of regimes, totalitarian regimes. So if a regime starts targeting those people, typically, intellectuals, to me, that's a sign that something bad is about to happen. Um, so yeah, I have to say this. Um, I'll just put it this way. Let's just hope that's not going to happen in the USA under Trump. But there is certainly an anti intellectual movement in the USA. And it worries me for many reasons, and this is one of them. You know, they're trying to portray university education as, oh, you go there to get woke, you go there to get a nose piercing and blue hair. Okay. Hold on. Ja, husker det. Nå? Jeg avslutter litt nok på tungt. Okay, this was fun, but I have dad taxi duty now. I almost forgot. I will just say that I have had a series of live streams now that were controversial. If you, especially to those who disagree, but they're still here being part of this community, I want to thank you for that, because it takes maturity to do that. And yeah, so thank you. It is so important that we can keep communicating and keep talking, keep discussing, even if we don't agree. That's the sign of a good culture, a good society. So let's do that. It's nice to be in agreement as well, of course, but yeah, it's when this communication stops that's when things get ugly, right? Okay, I have to go, and I want to thank you. There's a video on Bjorn outdoors with some nudity. No, it's not nudity. Just a quick question there, Bjorn. Are you a communist? I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. Okay. So, okay, and I will have a video on the main channel, which has my name. It's all linked in the video description. That will be tonight or tomorrow if you're in the USA, I guess. Okay. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk soon. I really enjoy these live streams, by the way. Okay, hope you do as well. Bye bye.